to New Crew. If you're new, my name's Cassandra. Welcome back to my channel. If I'm looking a hot mess, it's because it is so hot outside. It is almost 90 degrees here today. I don't know what happened with our cool weather, but it is gone and the heat is back. But I just went out to the garden and we have collected this whole bowl, this basket full, plus on my way in I thinned out some carrots. So these are just the carrots that I needed to get out of the way so that some other carrots could get big and delicious and great. And a lot of these carrots aren't really that bad for being thinned carrots, which is great. I'm taking everything that I have just in the freezers, in my long-term storage, all of these beautiful baskets of produce that I just showed you guys, chicken eggs that I have piling up behind me, things that I have in the fridge already harvested from the last couple of days. Let's sit down and make a meal plan based off of only things that I have at my fingertips. So let's go ahead and hop in and show you guys how I do this, because I get questions on it all the time, now more than ever as I'm getting more people here and joining kind of this journey. How would I take my garden stuff and actually use it to create meals for my family? On one of my recent videos, so many of you guys told me that you appreciate when I tell you when I'm preserving things or when I'm harvesting things, what I preserve them as, what I use them for once they're in jars, because you guys actually get some ideas and you're thinking, I would never use that. I think it was my chili base. Some people were saying I would never use chili base, but then I was talking about how I'll put a tablespoon or two of it in my Instant Pot with rice and we'll make a Mexican flavored rice. And a lot of you guys said that you would use it for that. So lots of different ideas here. Things don't always have to be super obvious. So let's go ahead and hop in and show you guys what I would use all this stuff for. Creating a meal plan for my family for about a week. I do have a whole row of potatoes that are good and ready to go, but because I don't want to have to take the time to cure them, harvest them, I am just slowly eating off of that bed of potatoes, and as I need them, I'm going out there harvesting what I need, covering everything back up, and coming in and cooking. So I do have a lot of potatoes out there. I just want to make that known. We are going to be meal planning for the next couple of days for my family of 6. I'm gonna be showing you guys a couple meals that I've already made using things that are coming out of the garden. If you are new, typically once a month I will sit down and make an entire meal plan for an entire month for my family of 6. Go ahead and do once a month grocery shopping, come home and eat off of the meals that I have planned for the month for my family. This month I opted not to do that. The garden is in abundance right now. I just want to be inspired by what's coming out of the garden. So a couple of days ago, 2 days ago, I made a giant pasta salad. We've been eating off that slowly but surely out of the fridge. Great for these hotter days coming in from the garden. You want something light and cool and not something super hot and heavy. So that's been really nice to have. Tonight for dinner, we are doing walking tacos. I have taco meat sitting in the crock pot. We have a variety box of chips. Here we have cousins coming over. They're actually on their way over now, and this is just like a fun thing we're doing with the cousins. Very simple, very easy. This family that's coming over also happens to be gluten-free and dairy-free, so that's why I went ahead and got a bag of chips, or a box of chips that I know that they can eat. I also have dairy-free options I went to the store and picked up this morning for them, sour cream and cheese and things for their walking tacos. So that's why this is here, but obviously we are going to be using some of our garden produce in these walking tacos. We obviously already showed you guys this massive bowl of potatoes. I also have some cayenne peppers in here if somebody wants a little heat. I have some shallots in here that my 1-year-old accidentally pulled out while we were doing some garden chores, which is fine. I did not buy onions this month, so we've just been using the shallots. We also have in this basket here more tomatoes, lots of broccoli side shoots, a couple things of cherry tomatoes, and a couple things of celery, and a big old handful of dill. So let's sit down with all of these beautiful fresh ingredients that I have in front of me, and let's figure out what we're gonna eat over the next couple of days. I have my paper, my pen here, and we're just gonna write down a couple meals, figure out a couple things that I can use that I don't have to go shopping for at all, just working with what I have, especially with our garden produce. The first thing that's coming to mind, because of all these beautiful tomatoes, and I have a whole gallon of lettuce in the fridge with our very cool weather and then our very like literally overnight switch. It went from getting down to like 49 degrees at night, which is very cold, to then coming all the way back up into the 90s. My lettuce bolted on me. It was doing so good all season. It's done. So I went ahead and harvested everything that I had. I got a gallon of that. That's in the fridge. I also have 2 sandwich Ziploc bags full of broccoli in the fridge. So the first thing that's coming to mind, because I have all of that beautiful lettuce and I'm seeing all these beautiful tomatoes, I'm thinking either BLTs or burgers, possibly both. So when I'm meal planning like this, I just like to brain dump every meal that I can possibly think of, write it down. I'll take that list, stick it to the fridge, and then in the morning when I'm pulling out meat for the day, I can go, all right, this is what sounds good. Or I can take a vote, and it's usually majority rules what sounds good. So here we go. So I'm thinking BLTs. I'm also thinking burgers. I also, if you watched my grocery haul, you know I did not buy any bread this month. I've been making all my own bread this month, trying to make that a goal for myself. And I kind of forced myself to do that by not buying bread. But it's been going very well. I got half a loaf there, so I'm gonna have to make another loaf. I will also be making hamburger buns. I love to do that. Love that recipe, it's great. I'm also thinking maybe we could do a Big Mac salad, which my family really loves. With all of my broccoli side shoots, you could either go one of 2 ways. You could use your broccoli as a side for whatever you plan on doing, which is totally fine. My mind automatically goes to like stir fries or things like that, where I can take a lot of these random vegetables that I have, throw them in a wok with some chicken or some beef or even some pork, make a really nice stir fry or something. So I'm gonna add a stir fry or maybe like a fried rice. Or some of this really gorgeous celery that I have here. This is some of the best celery I've ever grown. I am automatically thinking that we need to do a cheddar and broccoli soup coming up this week, where my husband is not going to be home to have dinner with us. One meal that everybody else loves, my husband does not enjoy as much, is cheddar broccoli soup. So I think that that is a perfect meal for the night. My husband is not going to be home, so we are going to add a cheddar broccoli soup. If, for whatever reason, I use up all my broccoli, then we're just not going to do cheddar broccoli soup. Or I will go out to the garden and hope that there's enough out there for me to make this meal. If not, I might dig into what I'm putting in the freezer. But right now, I'm really trying to work with just what's coming out of the garden and saving my freezer stash in the freezer for the winter months. That way I'm not preserving and then pulling it out a couple weeks later to eat it. I'm really trying to keep it in there. So this meal might get benched. Some other meals might get benched. It really just depends. We're in the season now where my broccoli, I'm not getting big, gorgeous heads of broccoli right now. I'm in between stages where my broccoli that I put in the spring are just giving me side shoots, and the broccoli that I put in the fall garden isn't quite there yet. They're just starting to kind of get big enough where they're gonna start producing some heads. So we're kind of in that in-between stage of things. So we're gonna work with what we have. The cheddar and broccoli soup might end up having to be waited on until I get those big, beautiful heads of broccoli. I'll take one gorgeous head of broccoli, make a big, delicious batch of soup, and whatever we don't eat, I will freeze. We'll pull it out as a meal through the winter, and it might just be something that is better on a cooler day that we know we have coming up heading into the next couple of weeks, especially as we start hitting September, maybe even October. The broccoli might still be going strong depending on when that frost date comes for us. I'm kind of digging in my thing here, my big bowl. I'm seeing lots of these cherry tomatoes. We pretty much always use these cherry tomatoes. We throw these in eggs in the morning, omelets in the morning. So I'm thinking maybe we'll do an omelet or some sort of quiche. So let's get that down. We could always do an egg bake as well. Those are just as good. Pretty much a quiche is just an egg bake, but if you don't want to make a pie crust or you don't have a pie crust, you can always do an egg bake. That's something that I could also use. These shallots, our tomatoes, I could go down and get some of our potatoes and make it a breakfast quiche, or you could do more savory, which is my favorite, using again some of our broccoli. These shallots here, I love ham or bacon, some sort of meat in my quiche. I think it just takes it to the next level. My favorite form of quiche, in case you're wondering, is breakfast sausage or an Italian sausage, one of the two. Onions, mushrooms, very simple, very delicious. It's absolutely fantastic. I love it a lot. So we have that. I'm also seeing all of these beautiful fresh things of dill, and for me personally, I'm thinking I would love to have some sort of a dill and lemon salmon or a dill and lemon trout. That sounds really good to me. Oh, that dill is so fragrant. So I'm gonna put some sort of dill and lemon fish. I know I have a couple fillets of salmon left in my freezer. I have some brook trout that I could do with some of this dill, a little bit of lemon. That'll be delicious as well. These carrots that I thinned, either the kids will eat them fresh as snacks, they will end up in a stir fry or cheddar broccoli soup, things like that. We also have a whole pile of eggs behind me for the first time in a couple of months. We actually have a surplus of eggs, which is great. I don't know what happened. Either we slowed down on eating eggs or the chickens kind of just came out of their slump and they're starting to produce a whole lot more again, which is actually very fantastic. So far we have BLTs, burgers, a Big Mac salad, some sort of stir fry or fried rice, cheddar broccoli soup, an omelet or a quiche, some sort of egg bake, dill and lemon fish. And that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How I would sit down in a very short matter of time, just looking at what I have in front of me, what I know I have in my fridge, what I know I have in my freezers. I know I have lots of ground beef. I have a couple different varieties of fish. I know I've got lots of pork. I could always do some sort of a marinated pork chop in a really big side salad with some of the lettuce we have, some of these beautiful tomatoes. Really, options are endless. So I think I'll add that to my list, some sort of marinated pork chop, just to give us a pork option, just in case I'm waking up and feeling like pork would be good. We could also do a barbecue pork chop with some sort of like a mayo-based pasta salad with some of these tomatoes thrown in, some of these shallots thrown in, maybe some of this celery thrown in for a little bit of crunch, some raw carrot. That would be really great as well. So some sort of mayo-based pasta salad. Very simple, very easy, and lots of options here, just chopping out of the garden, off of chicken, eggs, anything that I can make from scratch that I don't currently have in the house, like bread, or I can make my own pasta if I want to, but I do have store-bought pasta downstairs on the shelf. I prefer store-bought pasta for pasta salads because we like to make ours in bulk and keep them in the fridge. We do that about once a week in the warmer months. That way it's kind of in there, it's an easy side. We're coming in from the beach, from the garden, from the park. We can just pull that out and it works really well for us. And I think it holds up better in the fridge than a homemade fresh pasta. That's just my personal opinion. Other people may think differently, but that's why I like to keep store-bought pastas, especially in the summertime for those pasta salads. So we have an amazing amount of options here for meals over the next couple of days for my family. It took what, 10 minutes maybe, minus obviously the harvesting of all of these vegetables. But that's how I would sit down and meal plan. This is what we are going to use for the next couple of days for my family. Very simple, very quick, very easy. This is gonna find a home here on the fridge. We have even some breakfast options on here if we wanted to. If I'm talking about breakfast, I would go out there, grab a couple of those potatoes out of there. I would maybe shred them, make a hash brown or like a shredded hash brown, that's what that is. Maybe top it with some more of our shallots here. I have more in the garden, I can always grab more. Make a big egg scramble with those shredded potatoes. Throw in a couple of these cherry tomatoes. Make a really big skillet. We could throw in some bacon or whatever kind of leftover meat, maybe some ham, whatever you have in the fridge. Make a big egg scramble. Do that with a couple slices of toast and some jam. That sounds delicious. Really great, really easy. I could always take some of my breakfast sausage or some of the bacon out of the freezer, whip that up with some diced potatoes out of the garden, some more scrambled eggs, maybe some cheese, wrap it in a tortilla, make some breakfast burritos. So we've got a really good amount of options here for breakfast, lunches, and dinners over the next couple of days, just off of what we have here currently at our fingertips. Let me know down below what you guys are having for dinner this week. Thank you, as always, for taking time out of your day to hang out with me, talk about some meal planning, talk about food, a little bit of garden stuff, all the things that I love the most. And I will see you guys in the dark. We are nothing more than dust. Search but you stay lost.
We are reaching for the stars, but we're made